What's up, YouTube? What's up, Xtreme Gainz family? I'm Chuck. This is Xtreme Gainz. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is or ever will be financial advice. Please do not take it as such. Today is Tuesday, September 13th, 2022, and as you can tell, I am still having trouble with my voice. It is still cutting out when I throw volume onto it, so bear with me once again. I'm going to try to get through this video as quickly and as easily as possible, just like last night. I'm still going to go over all my regulars, my snake Algo method for all three tickers, some macro comparatives, and some side-by-side early week update and prep video projections and the fulfillment of those projections from today's price action. So with all of that said, let's dig in. What a crazy day today. I really hope you all took advantage of the volatility today, like I always say, and made some extreme gains for yourselves. CPI data, quote unquote, was released today at 0830. That was the justification for movement today to the downside. The market absolutely got turned on its head as projected, and we headed downside in a big way. The extreme gains today in the Xtreme Gainz family were absolutely off the charts today. My scalp setups that I set up every single day on the 7 tickers provided 14 entries from trigger today. The highest ROI was 745%. Let me say that again in case you didn't hear me. 745%. I brought the moon to me. That is how it's done. The next one down, 250%. The next one down, 175%. The next one down, 100%. And from there down to 25% and multiples of them to round out that list for the day. Obviously, I am over the moon about those extreme gains today. The premium and general Discord members in our combined private live stream today hit dingers all day today. Triple digit gains all over the place. Congratulations to all of you on your extreme gains today. It is well deserved as always. And obviously, I hope y'all out here in our extended family did the same. Moving on, currently on your screen is AMC 5-minute intraday chart on your left, SPY 5-minute intraday chart on your right with my micro intraday snake from my snake Algo method on both of them. These clips both come from August 10th, the last CPI data release day, and we ran upside. They're both in the mirrored position, and you can see the repetitive fulfillment of both of those snakes and fractals on the 5-minute chart today for both AMC and SPY. Another kick-ass day from the micro intraday snake. Now we have a few things to talk about here with the intra-week snakes, macro comparatives, and then I'm going to pull up some side-by-sides. So here we go. Currently on your screen is AMC. AMC finished the day today down 4.89%, currently down an additional 0.21% in after hours, trading at $9.70. The current intra-week snake that is on here has been projecting and fulfilling that projection for over 2 weeks. If you remember last week, in an attempt to stay out in front of this thing, the anticipation that I had was a potential divergence last Tuesday or Wednesday, like it normally does. These things normally give me between 5 and 7 days worth of fulfillment of whatever the projection is. However, we had a holiday week last week, and there was never a diversion from this intra-week snake. Price action continued to fulfill it, so I allowed it to do so. However, in that attempt to stay out in front of this thing, as you know, and as I told you in previous videos, I did clip potential intra-week snakes last week on Tuesday and on Wednesday, and I have been tracking them behind the curtain. And I told you that they were irrelevant, and if they became relevant, I would bring them out and show them to you. So this is what happened today. This morning, in that same attempt to stay out in front of this thing, as I spoke about in last night's update and prep video, this potential diversion to downside, as I verbatim showed you, could potentially happen today. You might ask yourself, well, how the hell did he know that that was going to happen today? Because of the intra-week snake from last week at that anticipated divergence that never happened. Let me move this out of the way. This is the one I've been tracking behind the curtains. Here is its placement. You can see the rejection and the one giant hammer candle, death candle to the downside, therefore dead on fulfilling itself today, which is where I had the insight for that identical diversion and fulfillment to the downside away from the continued upside fulfillment of this snake. Ironically, you can see that had this been clipped and placed on here last week and found to be relevant, and if it weren't for this one, this would have been 1 week of fulfillment from this one, then a divergence, which we never got, and then a new clip, and here's the new snake with a potential for continued fulfillment moving forward. So that was the insight I had with this snake. I also, this morning, for the Discord members, both premium and general, because of that, as I told you in last night's video, I clipped new potential intra-week snakes from yesterday's price action and from Monday's price action. And here they are. This is Monday's clip, so the day prior to. And there's its placement. I posted this up in my chart updates this morning for both general and premium Discord members prior to price action fulfilling. Here was our location within that, and then the projection from that to the downside today. And here is the 100% fulfillment of that candle for candle with that diversion and downside move today. So we had that as a projection and fulfillment, and we're prepared for that move from AMC today regarding that divergence. Now, moving forward, what's going to happen here? So what I'm going to do is invalidate the rest of this for the time being and use, because it does not show that and project that move downside. So I am going to clean this up and put that 1 week portion back in there, set that off to the side, and use the relevant and dead on one that projected this downside move. I'll put that week back in there, and then I'm going to show you, here was the day prior to that I just showed you. Let me put this where it belongs. Right there. There's the day prior to, like I just showed you. There's the placement of it. You can see the projection from the current intra-week snake and this potential new one moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to fulfill one of them. You can also see the inverted mirrored difference in their projections initially here going into tomorrow. So I should be able to invalidate one or the other tomorrow. Then the day of divergence, which was yesterday's clip, is right here with its overlap, and it replicates the continued fulfillment to the upside like the current intra-week snake. And you can see the inverted mirrored divergence between the two of them here. So likewise, tomorrow I should be able to invalidate one or the other moving forward. So here they are. I'm going to throw them all three on here for you to see. This is everything that I am looking at going into tomorrow, specifically from an intra-week snake perspective on AMC. Moving on to the macro comparative for AMC. As you are aware of, I have been using the previous double bottom 2 doors back right here that I had previously used from March until just recently in August, prior to the breach to downside for all of this projected and fulfilled price action that we tracked here every single day on the channel. I have since, prior to the breach to downside, clipped that same macro comparative from right here of that double bottom, and I've been using it in the flipped position. We have since fulfilled that from the peak to the downside, to the macro ascending level support, the initial bounce, and then we diverted to the downside away from the continued fulfillment upside as it was projecting, therefore indicating a potential for a mirrored fulfillment of it. I clipped a red replication of that, placed it on here in the mirrored position, and we have gotten continued fulfillment out of that since. Here's the position of it. I spoke to y'all about this doing one of two things in the previous update and prep videos, either converging back with the straight up flipped position of that macro comparative, or a potential rejection and continued fulfillment of the mirrored position of it. We got that rejection back downside and continued fulfillment in the mirrored position. However, I do think we are in striking range of still continuing to fulfill either one of them at this point. Obviously, I'll be using this 970, 975 to 968 is what I called it earlier in the week. Significant level of support and resistance that's been on my chart forever that we talked about previously. I talked about this price action breaching it on the way up without a confirmation prior to a continuation to upside move. We are sitting right there on that confirmation level right now. Obviously, a breach to the downside. I'm going to be looking for the macro ascending level of support breach for a confirmation to downside. Anything probably under 930 would be the level that I'm looking at for a confirmation move of mirrored fulfillment to the downside. And then obviously a support bounce and a confirmation move back upside to that continued upside fulfillment is what I will be looking at. Here is the side-by-side from last night's video. The location of price action within it, the rejection back downside, and I did make a couple little adjustments here, but nonetheless, we talked about it. Again, if you want to question me for context, go back to last night's video, listen to what I say. The divergence right here as we open today to the downside to converge back with the mirrored position of it. And you can see that is exactly what we did here right at market open. Prior to market open, first thing this morning, we breached back downside and converged back with it. And you see where we're sitting now. So obviously you can see what the projections are from it moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. Then up next is GME. GME finished the day today down 4.75% in regular trading hours, currently down 0.47% in after hours, trading at 27.72. The current intra-week snake that you see on your screen has once again continued to fulfill itself in its current position. We have talked about two potential positions of this. This is the first one. It continued to fulfill that, and it continued to fulfill the other one as well, because they are both projecting the same thing up until this point. Obviously, this one here shows the downside for the second bottom to be put in here. And then we have our W formation and fulfillment. If it were to do that here, what looks to be pretty much immediately moving into tomorrow and the next day or two. Versus the other one gives us a little more time for consolidation here prior to putting that bottom in, which we're going to look at in a minute. Here is the side-by-side from last night's update and prep video. The location of price action within it, the projection from it, and today's 100% fulfillment of that. Likewise, you can see what the projection is moving into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. If I said that already, I apologize. I say it so many times in these videos, I can't remember when I said it and when I didn't. Here is the secondary position of it. Like I just explained, same projection, downside here, then some room to consolidate. Here's where the difference is prior to putting that second bottom in, therefore putting in a more elongated double bottom. Here is the side-by-side from last night. You can see that we continued to fulfill that today as well. You can see the location of price action in last night's update and prep video and the projection from it and today's 100% fulfillment from it as well. Then for GME, the macro comparative from the previous double bottom like AMC that I have been using for over 5 months for projection, and it has fulfilled great throughout that entire 5-month period or more. And in its current position right here, as of last night's video, you can see that we once again continued to fulfill this thing almost candle for candle. Here is the side-by-side from last night's video of the macro comparative. The location of price action within it, the projection from it, and today's 100% fulfillment of that projection once again. You can see what the projection is moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it. Then last but not least is SPY. SPY finished the day today down 4.35% in regular trading hours, up currently in after hours 0.06%. Before I pull the intra-week snakes in, we had talked in last night's video about my box top schematic and box top formation and fulfillment with this macro third sitting right here for a new potential box top. Those of you that know box top and or follow the box top method, you knew what was coming next, and that is the breach to the downside that we got today for a 100% fulfillment of that schematic and projection from it in that position. Now moving on to the intra-week snakes for SPY. I have been tracking still leading up into today, the day of the previous divergence, the green, and the day prior to. Here is the day of with the single bottom and the mirrored double bottom fulfillment and the continued projection to upside until today. We have, in my opinion, officially diverted from this to the downside, away from the continued projection of it. There's no way to manipulate this with the tools that I have available to me that would allow me to continue to track this in any position. So this, from this moment on, is considered invalid, and I will be disposing of that. However, the day prior to the previous divergence, the most recent position of that throughout this entire fulfillment has been that overlap of the top, and we have gotten the continued fulfillment, including the double bottom to the downside, the bounce back upside as you see it on your screen. We spoke in last night's video about this upside move here potentially mirroring itself to the downside because of the box top setup that I had here. Therefore, one of two things, either looking at this as diverted from or potentially mirrored. However, I do want to add a third possibility to this and to that intra-week snake as we fulfilled that diverted projection. I do think there is a possible scenario where this would be something similar to that and still continue to keep the integrity of the previous fulfillment if we were to find support along the macro ascending level of support again right here and put in that bounce, what looks to be another double bottom, and then a continuation upside. I still would consider this valid, and then obviously we would have the downside move today projected likewise off of the box top schematic and hit off of that macro third. So this is a potential position of it moving forward, and if that's the case, you can see what the projection is from it moving forward into tomorrow and beyond, showing a little bit of room for some consolidation, and again what appears to me to be potentially another double bottom before that continuation to upside move for continued fulfillment. However, if we were to potentially consider this mirrored at that divergence, like we talked about in last night's video, right there, I would need to send this back to its straight up position that it started in, therefore showing that move downside as a mirrored fulfillment. There is the fulfillment of it, and you can see what the projection would be from it moving forward into tomorrow and beyond if price action were to continue to fulfill it in that position. Those are the current intra-week snakes. If I do not get that bounce fulfillment, as you see both of them, whether it be in the straight up position or this mirrored position to show this projection to downside, are both projecting a bounce off of the macro ascending level of support. If that bounce does not occur, they will both be invalidated. This one will be along with the day of divergence, the green one that we've been tracking. And I will be clipping new intra-week snakes from today's price action and yesterday's price action. and using them as potential new intra-week snakes. I will let you know. We'll be looking at it tomorrow in the live stream, one way or the other. Then last but not least is the macro comparative from the 08-09 correction and crash. Here is the bird's eye view of that. I have been tracking this on this channel since I started the channel. You can see the long time projection and continued fulfillment from it. And where we have currently been within that is right here. And I spoke to you over and over and over again about this, specifically in last night's video, talked about price action, once again, working in tandem with the box top schematic and the third hit here that we got directly yesterday, therefore sending this thing directly back downside and a continued fulfillment of the downside projection of the macro comparative in that position. And that is a 100% fulfillment of that projection here today as well. Here is the macro comparative from last night's video, the location of price action within it, the projection from it that I was verbally talking to you about last night, and the 100% fulfillment of that projection today. Then I want to make one more little thing known here. We did talk briefly last night's video about ticker SPX, and I showed you the same 08-09 correction and crash macro comparative on top of current, daily on daily, and talked about the two potential positions of that. And here is where I had it, talking about this potentially coming back up in here, this being a mirrored fulfillment of that peak, this coming back up in, rejecting and coming back downside. Here is the screenshot from the update and prep video last night where I was talking about that, the location of price action within it, and the two variable fulfillments that I was expecting from it, either a consolidative downside move or a direct downside move, as I discussed and projected with you in last night's video. And here is today's 100% fulfillment from that. So I am tracking this as well, in tandem, obviously, with the SPY ticker and the 08-09 macro comparative on it as well. And as I stated in last night's video, in the spirit of that and the positioning of that and how that looked, I was giving this position of the macro comparative here, which is the same position as what I just showed you on SPX, a little more room to move to the upside short term today if it were to do so, prior to that rejection back downside, verbatim what we talked about in the update and prep video last night, and dead on exactly what fulfilled once again today. So you can see moving forward, it's obvious what the projection is from it if price action were to continue to fulfill it. My friends, my family, that is everything I have for this video and everything I have that I am looking at and looking for with AMC, GME, and SPY moving into specifically tomorrow and beyond. Once again, reminder, I will be live streaming here on the channel and on the Twitch channel tomorrow, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern until market close. Make sure y'all come by. I would appreciate seeing you tomorrow. If I don't see you tomorrow, good luck in the markets. I hope you make some extreme gains for yourselves. Do me a favor, don't forget to smash the like button on your way out and leave a comment. Let me know how you did in the market today. I hope everything went well for y'all, and I hope to see you all tomorrow morning in the live stream. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Later.